Oh no. Is the release of Topaz Photo AI 4 an epic failure? Hey everyone, welcome into Magnolia Photography SC. I'm Jeff House and I'm a wildlife photographer, Charleston, South Carolina. Hey, the month of May is rapidly coming to an end, and if you haven't submitted your entry to win a free copy at the end of this month of DxO's Photolab 8, well, you better get on the ball and get your entry in, because like I said, it is rapidly approaching. If you miss it, if you already have DxO, if you're looking to look into any of their other editing products, don't forget I have a special link down there. And when you make a purchase and you get to the checkout screen, use my discount code Magnolia to save yourself 15% off. Thank you, DxO. All right, let's jump into today's video because we got a lot to unpack here. Topaz Photo AI released version 4 of their software, and I think it's a bit of a disaster, to be quite honest with you. We'll see what you think by the time we get to the end of this video, but I'm concerned for the backlash that may come to Topaz over this. This is not good, guys. This is really not good, and the shame of it all, the sadness of it all is that Topaz Photo AI or Topaz Industries, whatever you want to call them, they were one of the original AI photo editing companies, right? Machine learning companies. And they used to sell these products separately. So you could go on and you could buy their Denoise app, right? They had all these different apps. And you could buy each one based on your desires and needs and whatever. And they were respected, well respected. But then they kind of did this transition from these separate apps. And that's when they kind of created Topaz Photo AI 3, and of course now version 4. And I think we are seeing some problems kind of starting to surface. And I don't know if it's something with the platform they're using to have like an all-in-one photo editor. You know, it just didn't seem like they were having these issues when they were individual apps. I don't know. I'm not an engineer. I'm not a software developer. I can't answer those questions. I can just go based on what I see, right? So a little speculation here, but there seems to be some issues with the program as they've transitioned into this all-in-one kind of software situation. So they released version 4 of Photo AI, and essentially what they're doing now is they've added a dust and scratch remover into the program. They have alleged to have improved the interface and their autopilot features inside of the program. And they also have an update on their recovery faces. So another feature that they're really kind of touting in AI 4. So we're going to take a look at some of these things today to see what's really happening and to see if these features are performing the way they are meant to perform. Now, there are several editing features inside of Topaz's products. And you're probably familiar with this if you've had AI 3. But this is one thing that I really don't like about Topaz AI. And that is some of the editing features. When you go in to make an edit, you will get this little box that pops up. And you will see this in a second as we jump in. But you will have two options in which to apply that edit. You can use Topaz's cloud service, or you can render on your own computer. Why would you use the cloud service? Because they are promising you a faster edit being applied to your image. Let me tell you, some of these edits are exhausting. I'm going to show you one in a little bit. I already applied the edit because it takes just so damn long to do. It literally took 24 minutes to apply an edit. But they say, okay, well, I'll tell you what, if you want it done faster, bring it up to the cloud and, maybe it'll take half that time. But in bringing it up to the cloud, it's going to cost you a little something. You get some credits, right, with the Photo AI program, but not very many. And if you want to bring a photo up to Photo AI to do it in the cloud service, it's going to cost you some credits, and those credits can vary depending on the image and what you're requesting and so on down the line. So it's not like it's just set at, every edit's going to cost you two credits. Could be 3, could be 8, could be 12. So all depends on what you're doing. But there's a fee to buy credits. Now, I don't know about you, but I'm not good with that. That feels a little nickel and diming to me. Program is $200 to buy this. Right now it's on sale, I think, for $169. But let's just talk everyday price, $200. And then you're going to tell me that if I want to edit photos faster, I have to pay for that. Now, I have the Apple MacBook Pro. I have an M1 chip with 16 gigs of RAM. Now, I realize not the fastest computer in the world, right? By no means. But I do all my photo editing on it. I do all my video editing on it. Video editing is one of the most labor-intensive processes that you can put your computer through, right? That's stressful for a computer. I've never had an issue with photo editing on my computer. So I can't imagine why applying one edit of, a feature here contained in Topaz, why it would take 24 minutes to apply that edit. That seems absurd to me. And it also raises the question in my head, are they doing something in the software that kind of throttles your computer back a little bit, purposefully makes things take a little longer, right? It would certainly be a great way to increase your frustration level and force you into spending money on Topaz credits. Again, I don't have any proof that this is what's happening. This is purely speculation, but I can't help but wonder if that's what's going on. With that being said, guys, let's jump in and take a look at some of these things that I've been talking about in real life. All right, welcome into Topaz Photo AI 4. First thing that we're going to take a look at is their dust and scratch remover. So we've got an old photo here. And as you can see, we have some scratches and some marks and some imperfections in the photo because it's old, right? Old photo, low resolution, but maybe we want to do a little restoration or attempt a little restoration of this photo. So what we're going to do, first of all, is I want you to kind of see right down here, right in the bottom left-hand corner, we can add images. We can do some downloading. Over here, we can choose some different options for how we want to view our photo. I always like to do the slider so we can see the before and after, right, when we apply an edit. And then we can change the zoom level of our image, or we can come over here to the drop down and just select a specific percentage, whatever you like. All right, now over here to the right-hand side, this is where we have our tools. And like I said earlier in the video, one of the features or one of the benefits that Topaz is promoting with version 4 is a cleaner interface over here. So they have this thing called autopilot. We can turn that on. And when we turn that on, autopilot is going to automatically apply specific AI tools to your images, meant to kind of speed up the imaging process. Maybe that works for you. Maybe that doesn't work for you. That obviously is something that you will need to evaluate and decide for yourself. But it's there, and it's now at the top of this right-hand panel, where in version 3, it was at the bottom. And so it was kind of believed that that was a little bit more inconvenient for photo editing because of the way you had to maneuver around the screen. So now it's up here. We also have the add enhancements, and according to Topaz, these are all listed in an order of how you should work through them to get the best quality from your edits and your images. Again, some of these may apply to your photo editing, some of them won't. You need to decide that and, apply whatever you want to apply. But again, we're going to be looking at the dust and scratch tool first here, and you will see that it is in beta form right now. It's not working very well. I'll tell you that straight up. And we're going to take a look in a second to see why it's not working very well. But I'm going to give them the benefit of the doubt and say perhaps it's not working as good as it can or as good as it will because it's still in beta version. Maybe once we get out of the beta version and we get to the final product, perhaps we will see some improvements. But if this is how it works in the final product, I think Topaz is going to see a big backlash on this particular feature. So if we go ahead and just apply the dust and scratch, you can see right here, right? Process your image to continue. Hey, do you want to use a credit? You have one credit, or do you want to process on your computer? So, hey, you know, this could be a problem. It says right now, process in the cloud. I don't know if you can see this. Process in the cloud. It's giving you an approximate time of 10 seconds. Well, I'm going to render on the computer because I'm not spending money for credits. I don't know how many credits it's going to actually take to do that. I'm assuming maybe it's just one because one is highlighted here, or perhaps that's all I have. I got to clarify on that. I'm not really sure. But I'm going to just process on the computer because I'm not doing that. And we'll see how long it takes to do that. As we sit here, we can obviously see it's processing. And it just continues to process. And now we're just doing dust and scratch. It's not like we're doing anything major. Okay. Wasn't horrible. We could do some more editing here. We have a brush size we can change, right? We could go in here and touch up some things if you want to. But I don't want to do that right now because I want to see what does the AI tool give us, right? What does the tool do for us? So I'm just going to click done. And now we're going to take a look and see what it does. Now, of course, I've gone through and done these already because I kind of wanted to have an idea of what happens. And of course, I just wanted to make sure that we have some good examples to demonstrate what the software can or cannot do. So let's start by dragging this over to the left. Now, as we can see, this is the before image. And as we start going to the right, we can see that this is going on. I'm just going to go across once, and then we'll go back and take a look and evaluate what we get here. Okay. You can see that there is still a lot left over on this photo, right? A lot of those imperfections are still existent. And when we slow it up here and take a little closer look, you're going to see it's even worse than some of these things just still being part of the image. Let's go to the left a little bit. I want you to pay attention to the bottom right-hand photo here where we have these like little white marks on the photo. Watch what happens to them after we apply the edit. Not sure if you can pick this up in the video because I know these videos get compressed and sometimes it can be hard to see this. But in real life, those white splotches just got worse. They just became brighter in nature. Not good, right? That's only enhancing the problem. As we continue to the left, I want you to watch this big white mark right here. Looks like it did a good job at face value, but if we really just stop for a second and take a breath, what we see is that we have a very large blurry spot now in our photo. If you've ever used like a remove tool of any sort in any other program, you'll know that sometimes when you use those, you kind of have to continue to tweak that a little bit because it does leave an awkward blurry spot in your photo, right? And you can recognize it. It sticks out. Even though what you removed may be gone, you can see that the pixels are not right in comparison to the pixels around it. Well, that's what's happening here. So this is definitely going to require more tweaking, right? So far, yeah, I don't know. You know, you actually may be better just to remove this rather than use this dust and scratch remover, especially since so far the dust and scratch remover is making other parts of the image worse. Again, we have a bunch of white spots on the bottom of the image here. Let's see if it does the same thing. Does it make them worse? And it does. We can see they're more muted here. They're not as pronounced, but after the edit, all of a sudden they're coming alive. They're enhanced. They're worse. What is going on here, Topaz? This is not what should be happening. As we move across the image, we're coming to the person's face. And now obviously we can see we got some spots on the forehead, the eyebrows, got some spots on the chin. We got a big white spot down here by the neck. What happens to these as we go through? Well, it removes some of them, right? We can see the ones on the forehead and the left eye there are gone. Okay, that's good. We see some of the ones on the lips and the chin disappear. Not completely, but some of them did. And of course, the one down in the neck, it was a little brighter and more pronounced. Still there, but more muted. And as we continue to go to the left, we continue to come across these white spots in the photo, and not much is going away. And we continue to see that image or that problem, right? Some of them are becoming less pronounced, but some of them are becoming more pronounced. So the ones that we're going over right now are becoming less pronounced, but as we get to the edge where there's a cluster of them, they become more pronounced again. They actually get brighter and become more prominent. All right, so this is an issue, right? This is a big issue right now because as we apply the dust and scratch, what we see going on really are three things. We have some things being removed in an okay manner. Okay. We have some things becoming worse because they're becoming brighter. They're becoming enhanced. That's not good. And then we have other things being removed, but they're not being fully removed. And sometimes it's leaving kind of the blurry pixels that we were just talking about. Those are not good things. Last thing I want you to take a look at is the gentleman here in the photo. Now, we were just talking about, it's a low resolution photo, right? We're not talking about a high quality, high megapixel, lots of detail type of image. We're talking about an old photo, but we do see some sharpness in the eyes and some of the features here with our subject. But what happens after we apply the dust and scratch remover? What happens to the details of our subject? And you can see that there's like a blurriness that is now taking effect on the guy in this photo. Things have become much smoother. And we're actually stripping away some of the sharpness and some of the detail from our subject. Not usually a preferred method to lose detail in our subject. So I'm not impressed with the dust and scratch remover quite yet. Let's take another look at, let's just take a look at another photo and we will bring this up. Let's add the dust and scratch remover to this one. Nope, not going to spend any coins or credits to have Topaz do it. We'll do it on the computer. See if we can spend another 10 seconds. And we will click done and we will take a look at what we have here. So, of course, we can see pretty obviously, right, the scratches and the imperfections that we have going on. And if we do a quick slide over, yeah, some of them are improved, but obviously we still have a lot remaining and a lot that needs to be cleaned up. Now, what I want you to really draw your attention to, because I think this photo does a really good job of highlighting how details are being stripped, especially from our subject. Look at the sharpness on the child and the gentleman in the picture. I mean, again, not the best photo, right? I mean, this really isn't a great quality photo to begin with, but I mean, at least we can, see their eyes, see their features, right? We can see that there's a little bit of sharpness and detail. Matter of fact, there might be a little over sharpening going on here, but regardless, we get the point. But what happens after we apply the dust and scratch? Whoa. Right? Like what just happened here? This looks like we just applied a Gaussian blur over the top of our photo. Everything has become super blurry right now, and details are obviously been severely degraded. This is not good, guys. This is a problem. And this is why I was saying that if this program doesn't improve, I really think that Topaz is going to be seeing a big backlash on how this is performing. All right, let's take a look at something else. This gets interesting too. We're going to go to this couple picture I took during an engagement session. And we're just going to fit this to the screen right now. Now, what I've done is I've already gone ahead, guys, because this is ridiculous. I've already applied the super focus, as you can see over here to the right, to try to fix the blurriness that we're seeing in this photo, because that's what that is designed to do. Reason I did this took 24 minutes when I applied the super focus. Now, what I'm going to do is I'm just going to walk you through the steps quickly to show you what I did so you understand that. So what I had done is nothing was applied, of course, and I went to add enhancements and I went to super focus. And then when super focus came up, I switched this to minor and I left this at the 50 on the all. Okay, so I wanted to apply it to the entire image and I left it as the AI recommends. I have found in my experience when dealing with these AI tools, I usually leave the recommended amount that they are applying because it seems to give you the best result. Not to say that sometimes it doesn't stray from that, and sometimes going a little less or a little bit more does produce a better result, but I'm just speaking overall. This is what I have found in my experience. The recommended settings tend to work best. So that's what I did, and then I processed it on my computer. Let me see if what they say. That if we were to go to the cloud and pay for this, it would take 20 minutes and 16 seconds. It took 24 minutes to render it on my computer. Now, of course, if you have a computer that has lesser equipment on it, right, where it's going to struggle a lot more to render this, it may benefit you to pay for the cloud service to render the image. It may be a lot faster. If you've got a slow computer, you could be looking at 40 minutes. You could be looking at an hour. Who knows, right? It all depends on your computer. But do you want to be in that situation where you are basically forced to pay for an edit after you've already paid $200 for the program? Your call. Doesn't work for me, may work for you. But at any rate, so we're going to just click out of this and we're just going to go back to the super focus that I applied. And let's see what happens here, right? If we just swipe across, okay, first glance may not look too bad, right? If we look at those faces, pretty blurry here. Doesn't look so bad, right? Definitely some sharpness that came back. But at what price? Well, let's start from the right and make our way over. First thing you're going to notice here, what is going on in the background? I want you to focus your attention specifically to this tree branch and these little bokeh balls in the background, right? And it's even occurring down here too, right by this tree trunk. And look at this part of the tree trunk, right? Look at these dark lines going up the edge, right? As it's trying to add sharpness to the photo. If for some reason we were trying to get a little bit of sharpness, this isn't working. The bokeh balls are becoming very weird, really weird outlines. They almost look like little orange slices, but really harsh outlines here. Tree branches, really harsh lines. Look at all those lines and artifacts that are kind of building up into this. We can even see it down here in the water. Look at these weird sharpening effects that are being applied. Very weird. I can even see one going down his arm. It might be really difficult for you guys to see this in that video compression, but there's like a weird line going down his forearm, kind of being created like the lines on the outside of the tree. Weird. Very weird stuff. I mean, this is still not a photo I would use even if this was even if everything else was equal and we weren't having these weird things going on in the background, just assuming maybe we just applied it to the subject because we did have that option. If we had even done that, I still don't think it's an acceptable photo to deliver to a client. This is just one of those that I would just throw away and go, all right, you missed the shot, whatever you did to miss the shot, it's gone. The dress is overexposed. The photo's blurry. It's just chalk it up to a miss. But as we go across, look at these. Look at the bokeh balls back here. Look at these. Oh my God. Look at the white parts. All these lines going on. Look at that. Is awful. Look at the grass, right? This is where the sun was kind of coming down, right? Kind of illuminating that grass a little bit there. Look what happens to that. Look at the artifacts on the side of this hill. What is that? It's like some sort of patchwork. Now, we should be able to sharpen the background a little bit, even if we wanted to sharpen this whole photo, right? We should be able to sharpen it with the super focus and not get these weird artifacts. There's something wrong here. This is just not applying the algorithm correctly. I mean, or there's something wrong with the algorithm altogether, obviously. But I don't know what's happening because, like I said, I'm not a software engineer. I don't know how to write these things and to perfect these things and to fix them. But clearly we can see there's a big problem here because there's a lot of artifacts popping up in the photo. So this is the super focus. I mean, I would never use this. I'm not using Topaz any longer, but I would never use this. This is not good. This is really not good. I'm going to get rid of this for right now. Or maybe can I duplicate this photo? I cannot. All right. So let's just get rid of the super focus. We're not going to come back to it. And let's just do the recover faces. Let's see what we get for a result here on the recover faces. So you can see that we're doing faces to recover in the subject. We can drop it down. We can do all faces, low quality, in subject, custom, none, whatever we want to do. We're just going to do in the subject, realistic or creative. We'll do realistic. We can adjust the strength. I'm going to leave the strength where it's recommending based on the AI. Include hair and include neck. Let's see what happens when we get that. All right. So now if we take a look at this, there's a little bit of difference there, but not much. I mean, there seems to be a little bit more sharpness coming from it, but again, not enough to really make a difference. What if we bump this up to 40 and we double the effect? Okay, it's now enhanced. All right, we're getting a little bit. That's not horrible. That's not a horrible result. I mean, let's take a look closer though. See what happens. What if we check on this hair? See if there's anything going on here noticeable. It looked like it added some detail. That's all right. Yeah, doesn't seem to be anything funny in her hair. We do the neck. Just trying to see if we see anything here. I don't really see anything funny going on there, but okay. So I don't know, maybe there's a use here for the recover faces, you know, I don't know. That result didn't seem to be too bad, but I don't know that how much I would really use this particular feature, but at any rate, not horrible. But I think we can agree that certainly the dust and scratch removal and the super focus, there's some big problems with those pieces of the software. I'll tell you where else I see some big issues with the software is when you're trying to do some simple lighting adjustments. First problem I have is with the overall speed of the software. And the second problem I have is with how it handles applying these lighting adjustments. Now, we all use different programs. I don't care whether you're using DxO. I don't care whether you're using Lightroom, On One, Capture One. I don't care what you're using, right? When you're in those programs and you're making lighting adjustments and you're adjusting the exposure and your highlights, your whites, your blacks, your shadows, right? Those settings. When we're doing those, when we move the slider, we are seeing what's happening in real time. And it's doing a great job of making the adjustment based on the direction we're giving it. This is not happening, guys, here in Topaz. Take a look at what I'm talking about. If we go to the adjust lighting, okay, we have to wait for this to open. You can see it's just spinning over here. That's super frustrating. That's annoying the hell out of me, by the way. Everything about this program is about clicking and waiting, right? Annoying. Things need to pick up and be much faster. So let's take a look at this, for instance. Okay, let's just say I want to try to recover some of the highlights in that white dress, right? Because I want to try to preserve some of the detail. I want to try to bring some of it out. Now, it's not like the dress is completely blown out. I don't know if you can see this because of the compression of the video, but if you look at her dress, you can see some of the texture in it, right? You can see some of the material here. So it's not lost, but we just need to bring down those highlights and increase the whites and kind of massage it to bring out some of those details. Well, let's just say I bring down the highlights here a little bit. I'll go down to like minus 0.20 and let's see what happens here. Okay, now I think I'm going to put this to the single view because I had this slider on. So this is what we got right now, right? So let's keep going. We'll go to minus 0.40, see if that helps. Just waiting. We're waiting and waiting and waiting. Really, not much is happening. The photo like flickers. It does like a weird flicker, but I can't notice any difference in what's happening here. What if I bring down the exposure to just make this a little bit more dramatic? I'm going to go down to minus 0.15. Waiting. This is instant with any other editing program. And here's the result with a very minimal change in exposure. That is absurd. That is absurd. This is not even a third of a stop of light, and it looks ridiculous. 0.05. I mean, where do we need to be? But that's a very unrealistic effect, right? A very unrealistic exposure. That's minus 0.5. Still don't like it because we still don't have the details that we're looking to get out of the dress. The skin tones and stuff are okay, but I can't seem to accomplish what I want to accomplish with the details in the dress. So again, we can't go much further though. Let's go in between the 15 and the 5. We'll go to minus 0.10, see what we get here. So now we're splitting that. And now I don't like this again. Now we're back to where the skin tones just kind of went back to dark. And now they're a very different lighting than the background. So it looks fake, right? It stands out. It looks awkward. So I don't understand what's happening with the algorithm with Topaz Photo AI 4 here, because the adjust lighting tool, that is not working very well. Let's turn on the color correction and see what happens here. I haven't even done this yet. Who knows how long it'll take and what result we'll get. Okay. So, I mean, I don't think the color correction itself was horrible, but what's horrible is the lighting adjustments that we made a few seconds ago to exposure and highlights, I think only was enhanced when we added the color correction. So guys, I think there are some big problems, but I urge you to go check out another video. Andy Hutchinson Photography. Andy put out a great video. I love Andy. I follow his channel. But he put out a video on this as well, and he got very similar experiences to what I'm getting. In fact, some of the samples that he shows you in his videos came out far worse than what happened here today. Check it out, because I'm seeing some problems for Topaz here in the future if this is how the product is going to work. What do you guys think? Are you looking to buy this product? Are you concerned by what you're seeing here in this video? Let me know in the comments below. I would really like to know your thoughts and opinions on this product. If you've downloaded a free trial, let me know how the program is working for you with the edits you're making. I'm really interested to hear from you guys. But if you learned something today, if you thought this video was interesting in any way, please give it a thumbs up so that it gets pushed out to individuals that are just like us, that want to see more stuff like this, learn more stuff like this. And, consider subscribing to the channel as well, as that is greatly appreciated. Thank you so much for spending your time with me today, guys. I really appreciate it. I'll see you guys in the next video. But until then, good luck with your wildlife. Good luck with Topaz Photo AI 4, and I'll talk to you later.